So here we are at one of the most haunted locations in the French Quarter for our second episode of Paranormal New Orleans. And I'm so excited. I am so excited.
This is really a great spot. I mean, before you even walk into this place, when you're standing outside, you can actually feel the spirits and everything. Now we are on this journey together and we're going all over our city.
Yes.
And just exploring and investigating some of the most haunted. I mean, it's great living in New Orleans and getting to see all of the to experience all of the paranormal that we get to.
It's true.
Yeah.
New Orleans really is the most haunted city. I've traveled a lot. I've done paranormal investigations in other cities. I've done them in LA, I've done them in New York, I've been all over, I did them in Europe. But we are, and it's just so lucky that we can call this home. You know, we really are a paranormal petri dish in New Orleans, and the French Quarter especially. And so where we are today is a very interesting location. It was brought to my attention by a wonderful woman who does all wonderful stuff with historic properties here in the French Quarter. And where we are today, it is a place called the Clay Shaw Mansion. And some of you may kind of have heard that name before.
Right.
Clay Shaw was quite a figure here in New Orleans, and he was involved in a trial because he was labeled a conspirator in the JFK assassination. And so when my friend and this wonderful woman who has just cherished this space told me that she was in here helping the owner, and she had a paranormal experience.
I've been in the property often, but I only had one interesting experience where there's a low-hanging chandelier in this room, and I reached up to fix an arm on the chandelier that was askew, and then right here there was a entity. It was like, and I didn't think ghost, I thought spider webs, but the problem was that it was moving ripply at the bottom, and then it had all these little fingers that were like funnel clouds, and it was moving completely in concert. It wasn't random. And when we went through the whole house and we got to the very top, that's when I realized I think I saw a ghost. So what I did was I called Cari, because I've known her for 10 years. I don't think I've ever talked to her about seeing an entity or anything like that. And so she talked about it and came here, and that's why we're all here.
But I am really a stickler about coming into a place like a clean slate. We did not want any background information. So everything that Misty and I are finding are things that we are just discovering, and then at the end of it, we will have either validation of the things that we discovered or not, but we don't want to know a thing when we're going in.
If people are skeptics, they're going to say anyway.
Oh,
sure. It doesn't matter what you do, but it is important as when you do this field that, like you said, not to go in with any information. We just knew it was the Clay Shaw Mansion.
Yeah.
That's it. And so we're here and really excited about what we're going to find.
It's very exciting too, because we're coming up on the anniversary of JFK's assassination, and it's going to be very exciting to kind of tie that into that fateful day in history. Today we're going to use a little equipment. We're going to do a little ad-lib stuff where we use ourselves as the paranormal detection equipment and our psychic and intuitive abilities. And I'm just thrilled.
Yeah.
So we should probably just get to it. So here we are in this red room. Red room. Yeah, that when we were doing a sweep really spoke to both of us.
Yes.
What was your physical feeling when you first came into this room?
This room has a lot of heaviness, but it's also like a lot of energy swirls in here. It's just making me feel really, like I said, heavy. Just the pulling of everything, of the energy. It's to me, I would think that this is one of the more active rooms.
Now, my psychic feel about being in here, and my ear is starting to itch, which is weird. You got to pay attention to your body. You have to pay attention to see what you feel when you're in some of these paranormal hot spots, because your body will tell you, like you were feeling with your chest breathing and things.
It's like kind of not ultimately overpowering, but it's really intense in here.
So in this room, I'm getting sweaty, you know, it's not menopause, past that now. I'm sweaty just because something is going on, shifts in temperature. It was a cold spot when we were here a minute ago, and now I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah, I'm sweating too. The fluctuation of the cold and then the hot and the cold and the hot, and there's no really explanation
There really isn't.
for it, so I'm also getting the sweat.
Yeah, we've gone, temperature, it keeps going back and forth to 72 to 73 to 71 to 72 to 73. It's not a huge jump, but it is a noticeable jump.
Right.
So this is a multi-layered property that we have here. I feel that there are several layers of spirits here and several layers of residual. The residual energy that I'm picking up the most here is events. Like something going on, cocktail parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Some kind of functions happening. A lot of drinking, a lot of gaiety, you know. And I keep feeling what I'm feeling about that would have been back in like the early 60s or the 50s, late 50s, something like that. I'm picking that up. But another thing that I keep getting here are a bunch of women, and I don't understand what that is. I really don't. Did you pick that up at all?
I did. I actually picked up a lady, like she had a role here.
Okay.
And I haven't picked on everything up that may come later, but I did also pick up on a female.
Because I think the woman that you're talking about is older.
She is.
Did you feel like she was from a time frame that could have been like the 1800s or early 1900s? Or
I actually felt that exact thing, that she was from the later 1800s.
Yeah.
And her name started with an M, and she was probably, I would say, in her 40s.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm picking up.
And I'm describing a male. What I'm picking up is, in addition to that woman, I'm picking up a male. I'm also picking up younger females. So I don't know what that is.
It's very interesting in the title chain when you look at it, because it wasn't just a home. It was a grand home. I think one of the Celeste Destrahan had it with a Maroney. She was married to Prosper Maroney, and they had a grand house here, and then they divorced, and then after that she sold it. And that was around 1835 to 1839 are some of the dates that I remember. And then in 1840, it was a girls' school run by a French lady. I think her name was De la Grasserie. That's New Orleanian.
What we should do now, what I'm thinking, is let's try the rods. Let's have you try the rods. So what we'll do is, using the rods, the first thing you want to do is you want to put all your weight in your feet, so you're sending stuff down to get yourself steady and solid. Then you want to hold your arms to the chest, to the sides of your chest, and lift up the arm exactly about chest height. And what I will do, Misty cannot say anything, because if she does, it'll cause the body to vibrate, and that can cause the rods to move. So I will be the one that asks the questions. I will be the one that asks the questions, and the rods hopefully will move and tell us what's going on. So the first question that I would start with today is, if there is anybody in this room who would like to communicate with us today, would you please move the rods? If you are here and want to communicate, will you please move the rods? There we go. The next question that I would ask is, if you lived here in the 1800s, will you please cross the rods? I think we found our 1800s female. If you are between the ages of 10 and 20, will you please cross the rods? If you are between the ages of 40 to 60, will you please cross the rods? Okay. How are you feeling, my friend?
I said,
I almost felt like they were going to get ready to jump in you and start speaking through you. Really.
I could feel colder.
Yes.
And I could feel them, like somebody actually like pulling or whatever. And so, and I don't know if you noticed or not, I'll close my eyes. That way, like, I don't see like how that they're,
How
what the
long you
answer
been?
is always, or, so that
Yeah.
was interesting.
That is cool.
And that's just one of the ways we can verify.
That is just one of the ways that we can communicate with them to
Right.
find out what their story is, so we can share that story with you. And I feel that again, the male that I'm picking up here, I feel that man is probably Clay Shaw. I really feel that. I do know that he went on trial at one point for being a co-conspirator in the assassination of JFK. And it's always been a question if that was true, if he was a fall guy, who was it that killed JFK? And I keep getting 3. He keeps saying 3. So I don't believe it was one person. I believe it was 3 shooters from what I'm getting.
So this was in the trial where it was in testimony that they said they heard Clay Shaw planning a conspiracy through the main wall, which is a very thick wall.
I don't think he's happy that we're talking about this stuff.
I don't think he's happy either, because he doesn't want anything that may be perceived negative, or, like I said, his public persona that would mess with that.
Yeah.
I would say, if you don't mind, if we could turn on the Ovilus to see if we may get anything.
Oh, I think that would be very cool.
Yeah.
This is such cool stuff. So what it does is it speaks.
Assault.
Assault.
It just said assault.
I did feel like somebody was trying to push me over, and I was not feeling that he was happy that we're here
No, he's
and
not.
talking about it.
It honestly, the vibe in here has changed.
Yes.
I mean, before we were feeling the busyness and the social gathering and the now I'm really thinking, I'm sensing that it's more of like the attention's been turned to us. Like before, he wasn't really worried about us too much.
Yeah.
But now I'm feeling that his attention is like wrapped, like just lasered onto us.
Yeah.
And like he wants to hear everything that we say. And since we mentioned his name,
yes,
he's really, he's pissed off.
I'm anxious now. I'm starting to get anxious by it, but I still feeling of equilibrium is off, definitely too. I think we should move into.
I think it's time to roll to another room.
I think we've gotten the red room. We walked in, and what you usually do in paranormal investigations is you do a little sweep of the area to try to sense what are areas that are going to be paranormal hotspots and places of a lot of paranormal activity. And as you were saying, you could feel it even when we were standing outside. Really, my hair started to stand on end. I was feeling something like. I felt like the spirits that were here were wondering who we were. Clay Shaw took this and turned it into a show place. And here we are 50 years later, almost 60 years later, right? And it still has that magnificent feeling, all of the beautiful details that are here. And so some of the things that happen, you've experienced them, I've experienced them, when you're around spirits, is you can feel dizzy, you can feel lightheaded, you can get shortness of breath. You feel the release of adrenaline if there's a stranger in your space, and that can be like your hair standing on end, goosebumps, all stuff like that. Moods are other things that spirits can interject into a situation where you're just happy and carefree and doing great, and all of a sudden you walk into a room and it's like, bam, big buzzkill happens, and you'll feel sad or you'll feel angry, but it's a noticeable difference from what your baseline emotional state is when you walk into those spaces. If you're a rational person and you're having an experience that just can't be explained by normal means, probably you're having paranormal experience.
And I wasn't afraid, not even for a second. I was mesmerized. And honestly, I've been here several times since then, and I've been disappointed that I haven't seen or have any kind of experience that rivaled the one that I had before. But that's why I call Cari, because these buildings have so much life in them and so much living that is going on. She can kind of look through the door and let me know, like kind of what went on before. So she has a unique perspective.
Crazy downstairs, right? That red room.
Yes, it
Crazy.
lived up to its name almost.
It did, right, red room. It was really, there was a lot of stuff going on down here. But up here we are, different vibe. We come upstairs and I start feeling again weaker, I feel for me that I think we're getting close to something about this man, Clay Shaw. I really do. I think he does not want us in here asking questions, and I don't think he wants us here to expose him. I don't think it's that he doesn't want people here. I think he just doesn't want us here asking all of these questions.
This room here, though, I'm feeling more anxiety.
Yeah, I was feeling
here.
Anxiety too.
Yeah, I really do. I feel more like my insides are like kind of queasy, kind of like shaking a little bit, and I feel like he's with us.
I feel he's with us too. I felt him when I was walking up the
Right.
stairs.
I think that once when I was staying in the red room where he kind of like noticed us.
Yes.
And heard us talking about
him.
And like I said, he does not like that. He does not want that.
The anxiety I feel like I'm getting is that I am starting to see things and get a little bit information of what I feel like when I'm reading him. I'm really starting to feel that there was a lot of involvement in that JFK assassination. I may be saying something that's unpopular here, but I feel like he was involved in that. There's stuff that I feel this man was involved in. I get three letters, CIA. CIA. And I feel like he was very in deep on that, in deep. And I get three people. Again, he's, it's almost like he's throwing a little crumb out there, and I'm not sure if it was the conspirators or were there three people that were involved in the actual shooting. One thing I get, and I get it very clear, is that guy who was, another New Orleans connection down here, Lee Harvey Oswald, he was not, they would never have, he was an idiot. He was not the brightest bulb on the marquee, right? I'm getting, all of this is just coming out now. He was not the brightest person. There is no way that they would have given that big a job to an idiot, to somebody who was not like, I think he was, of all of the people that were involved in it, I think he was the one that was duped the most. I really do. I think he was just duped. And we're talking about this, and as we're talking about this
I'm
again,
getting like, I really wish there was some way that could document, but I'm getting really, like my chest is actually fluttering.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing stuff out of my peripheral, and then like when you look, it's not there, but then it shows up again. I wonder if he actually planned something in this room.
That they said they heard Clay Shaw planning a conspiracy through the main wall, which is a very thick wall.
it could be. I mean,
Like there's some kind of connection with like maybe the planning or something. Maybe I know that he was primarily, downstairs, but there's something about this room that is connected to the planning and execution about of the assassination.
Well,
there is something.
Yeah.
There is something that's ties
with that.
Yeah, it is something, because he's like, I'm just like literally inside shaking so bad.
So let's take the rods.
All right.
Again, we're using the rods so that we can see if the spirits will move them to communicate with us and tell us what's going on here. Clay Shaw, if you are here today, please cross the rods. Mr. Shaw, will you tell us the truth? Mr. Shaw, will you tell us the truth about what happened all those years ago? If you will, please uncross the rods. Clay Shaw, did you plot the JFK assassination. If you planned the JFK assassination, please cross the rods. I just felt scared right then. I just felt scared.
I
Yeah.
actually felt somebody poke me on my side, like that.
Like somebody poked you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
it just say scared?
It said scared.
Yeah. Just after you said that you were
Plants
scared. It
and
says.
fame.
Mm-hmm.
Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Now plants. We were talking about the Oswald guy.
Was
right?
yeah, like that wasn't just him. Like he
But
was a
planted-
planet, like he was a
plant.
patsy. Yeah,
He
they
was a plant.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, but like I think it was really cool too that as soon as you said that you were scared,
It
said
said
that you
scared.
were scared
Yeah.
to verify that.
Let's try the rods again. Let's
Okay.
get you settled. Let's get you settled. Mr. Shaw, if Lee Harvey Oswald really killed JFK, would you cross the rods? Were there 3 shooters? If there were 3 shooters, please cross the rods. Now it's pointing towards me like it wants to shoot me. That's a little scary. Mr. Shaw, was the CIA involved in this? If the CIA was involved in this, please uncross the rods. I just don't even know what to say. I don't
It's
even know what to say.
like,
I don't even know what to say.
that's a whole nother level. When I'm doing these, it's like it's so strong.
They're moving, huh?
Yeah, but it's like whatever him or whoever's like really like here.
Right on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can feel it. When there are spirits, you can feel them. They almost, when we were downstairs, I really thought somebody was going to jump into you and start speaking through you. I feel like we got some stuff here today, and I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm ready to get out. I'm ready. I think that
I think so, 'cause
I think
I'm
it's a
actually getting
beautiful.
sick.
I think it's a beautiful house.
Beautiful.
I think it's an amazing space. But again, I feel like one of the inhabitants maybe didn't want us to be getting that much information, but
I agree.
they were put on the hot spot, so they kind of had to do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that was really great. You know, for our second paranormal investigation, I think we're off to a really great start.
I think so too. We had so much activity, so much verification, so information. We discovered
Information.
some new things,
Yes,
I believe, or
yes.
answers maybe.
It was very interesting to me because he was following us around. I feel like he's very protective of this building. Whoever purchases this building is going to get a security system built in, because I felt like the spirit was very protective. And the woman, that woman's energy, I felt a very nurturing, you know,
I
like
didn't feel negative about her at all.
no negativity. And,
Right.
you know, I think with Mr. Shaw, and I'm going to call him Mr. Shaw because he was a, you know, he was a prominent person.
Yes.
I felt like as we were going through it and he was following around, it was evolving. It felt like he was feeling us out. And, you know, I didn't feel harmful. I just felt like he didn't want us to know the whole story. But once we started asking him the right questions, I felt like he almost felt like he was on trial again.
I think so too. And one of the things I think he may have thought about us is he may have thought that we were going to try to move him out.
Oh, clear him.
Right, because he loved, one thing that everybody can agree on is that Mr. Shaw really, really loved this house.
Yes.
This was his home. He won an award.
Oh, it was a show place.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he won an award for it, and he put a lot of time and energy, and he really loved this place. So I think that with us coming on until he kind of figured out why we were here and what we were wanting to do, I think he kind of was like, oh no, they're going to ask me or make me leave, you know.
Yeah. One of the underlying feelings that I feel about this place is a good energy. I really do. I think Mr. Shaw was a mixed bag. You know, I think that he did a lot of wonderful stuff from for our city. But I think he did get swept up in some other dealings, and it just tainted who he was just for the rest of his life. I just think that, the what I feel today, what I do feel like we found out though, is I feel that I know without a shadow of a doubt that he was involved in the JFK assassination, that he was a bigger player, he was one of the key figures. And I don't think that, from what we picked up, I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter. I think maybe he shot, but what I kept getting is he would never have given him that job.
No.
Never given him that important job. He
like
was
the
a plant,
Oculus
like
said.
the Oculus said.
Yes, he was. And so, I mean, the mystery of the JFK assassination, it still lives on, but I'd like to think that maybe in our own little way we got some answers for it.
I believe so. Thank you all so much for joining us for today's episode of Paranormal New Orleans. And we're going to be doing new paranormal investigations every month. And if you have any place that you would really like to see Misty and I go and do a paranormal investigation, please email us at paranormalneworleanstv@gmail.com. That's paranormalneworleanstv@gmail.com, or go onto our Facebook page, Paranormal New Orleans, and send us a message that way.
Right. Until next time. See you then.
See you then. Happy ghost hunting.